Disney and Lucasfilm are looking at Star Wars Episode 9 as a course correction technique and as a way to insert a lot of EU and Legends material as well as other aspects of the Star Wars franchise. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, that is, of course, one major thing about Episode 9 by JJ and crew, is that this movie will have a lot of EU and Legends material being put into the Disney canon and actually being adjusted to their own version of all of that. Now, these past couple of months or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. However, what's very intriguing is that you guys may actually recall that these past weeks or so, there were a lot of adjustments to the script of Episode 9, and a part of those adjustments has all to do with a lot of major references from the EU, Legends, and of course, some of the actual Star Wars canon that falls under Disney. Now, in case you guys did not know this, what's really intriguing is that this movie is going to be filled with EU and Legends material that will actually be made all canon under Disney, and they're going to actually be using that as a plot piece of their movie. Not only that, is that a lot of references of other characters in the Star Wars universe will be referenced in the film as part of adjusting the script, one of which includes the character of Darth Plagueis himself. Now, this is also a way to connect to the prequel trilogy by Abrams, Chris Terrio, and crew. Now, I think that this honestly does fall directly in line with what we have been hearing a couple of months ago about the concept art and storyboard descriptions of Luke Skywalker and Snoke owning the manuscript of The Science of Creating Life, which is basically a collection of Darth Plagueis and his powers and his many different abilities out there. It could also mean that this falls in line with what the Weekly Planet went over around 6 months ago, that Disney and Lucasfilm were toying around with the idea of introducing Snoke as Darth Plagueis. And the reason as to why that could happen is in Legends, only is Darth Plagueis a Mun. In canon, alright, the species of Darth Plagueis is not even mentioned. So Disney can pretty much do whatever they want to do for the character of Plagueis, but the fact that this character will be referenced at least once, maybe twice or 3 times in this movie, I think is a great thing, and it's a step in the right direction, and it's a great way to connect to the prequel trilogy itself. I mean, if you think about it, such a powerful figure, such a powerful Sith Lord was only mentioned once in Revenge of the Sith. Apart from that, we never heard more about that character in the Star Wars franchise, specifically in the movies themselves. So, when we look at everything that Abrams has been doing before in the past, when The Force Awakens, was coming out, before it even dropped, a lot of people were asking questions, especially Daisy Ridley. There was, very strange here, there was a moment in which Daisy Ridley almost slipped and actually talked about the character of Darth Plagueis. It's actually on YouTube or Facebook, Twitter, it's everywhere pretty much. It's an old clip where somebody was asking her about him, and she almost slipped. So they did have plans about Plagueis, for sure, and it seems as though that J.J. Abrams is trying to reintroduce that into the final installment of the sequel trilogy by inserting a lot of references into the film. Now, does this mean, alright, the fact that we are going to get references of Supreme Leader Snoke, does this necessarily mean that Snoke will be Plagueis in Episode 9? It's really a hard call right now, we're not quite sure. We do know that there's a lot of talk out there that Snoke is still involved in Star Wars Episode 9. An entire mold of the character's face was actually made for this movie. So I think that we are getting closer and closer to a full-on confirmation about Snoke's return in Episode 9. Now, apart from all of this, that's one of the big plans by Abrams, is to connect this movie to not just the prequels, but also the originals in order to make it go full circle. Again, this is a very important film, not just to Disney and Lucasfilm and JJ, but it's also a very important film for the Star Wars community to actually come back together. Now, you guys may have heard about everything that has been going out there, behind the scenes stuff, and a lot of crew members were actually expressing their opinions about this movie actually being very much, on a large scale, high quality. Even Kevin Smith, who went on the set over there, he actually described it as one of the biggest sets that he has ever seen in his entire life. So you can really tell that they are trying to go all out with this movie. not just with all the story elements, but also with the quality. They are really dumping a lot of money into this movie. And if they're doing that, they better hope that, this movie's gonna make a lot of money in order to make up for the budget that they are actually putting into it. So with that being said, guys, what do you think about JJ and his whole entire ambition here with episode 9? The whole entire references of Darth Plagueis being a part of the story, as well as other EU and Legends characters coming into play here, I think is fantastic. And we heard about this lightly around almost a year ago, that they would be doing this for episode 9, and it seems to fall directly in line with just this. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.